Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the CCN News Media On Point. And this evening, we're on point with the upcoming presidential election. And we want to talk about the Electoral College because that's how the president and the vice president are elected, not by the popular vote. And so I think that that's some clarity that we need to state and that we need to make sure people understand the process of how the president and vice president are elected. And I did the intro, so now you introduce yourself.
Okay.
And then LaWanza, you go next.
Good evening. My name is Lavette Haynes. I am Limo, and that's Lavette's in my opinion. So I am a cultural journalist also with the Chicago Communicated News Media, and glad to be on tonight.
All right. Mr. LaWanza Quins, please tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, what I do, I'm a programmer. They got all kind of special names for it, software developed applications. I'm just a programmer. And what I'm most proud of is I came from out of the chemical field, and I used to do environmental chemistry testing, and for metals was my specialization. I used to be on staff at a university, and I started out running a chemistry lab in the metal finishings where they plate the gold and silver and all that. And I tested all the different metals with all the instruments and stuff, and some organic soup. And I'm looking to start that back up. That's who I am.
All right. Well, tonight's discussion is focusing on the upcoming presidential election and the process by which the president and the vice president are elected. And I don't know, based on a lot of the rhetoric that I'm hearing, if people really understand that the popular vote does not elect the president or the vice president. It's the Electoral College. And so what I did was I just pulled up some information.
It's that time again. The United States presidential election is around the corner. Every 4 years, the American people decide whether a Democrat or a Republican gets to live in the White House for the next 4 years. But how exactly does the United States presidential election work? Well, to understand this, we have to take a closer look at the entire election year. It all starts with the primaries, in which Democrats and Republicans each decide who is going to be their presidential candidate. How the primaries work and who is eligible to vote in them varies from state to state. In some states, every registered voter is allowed to vote. In others, only voters registered with a particular party can cast a ballot in that party's primary. Even the dates the primaries are held are different in each state, although there are some cluster primary dates. For example, Super Tuesday. On Super Tuesday, multiple states hold their primary. And it gets even more complicated than that, because the people don't actually elect the presidential candidate directly. With their vote, they are technically electing delegates, who in turn will support a certain candidate. In a primary, each candidate is awarded a certain amount of delegates, or representatives, based on the amount of votes they receive. Those delegates will later vote for their assigned candidate. Once the delegates from the various primaries have been awarded, you can already get a good sense of who will become the presidential candidate. However, the delegates don't officially vote for their candidates until the National Convention. In the end, a candidate must receive over half of the delegate votes to win the party's nomination. If no candidate receives over half of the delegate votes at the convention, the party renegotiates its entries into the presidential race. Additionally, sometimes candidates will end their presidential bids, and then the delegates will have to vote again. In that case, the delegates don't necessarily have to vote for their candidates again, but are now free to choose whomever they like. This procedure continues until a presidential candidate has been found. Once the two parties have officially chosen who is going head-to-head in the presidential race, the actual general election is held on the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Registered voters over 18 get to vote for their president on that day. However, similar to the primaries, the president is not elected directly here either. The vote tally for each candidate determines how many electors are awarded to that candidate. These electors will then elect the candidate. Each state has a different number of electors depending on how many people live in that state. But the electors cannot simply vote for the candidate they wish. In 48 of the 50 states, the elector tally is awarded winner-take-all. This means the winner of that state gets all the votes from that state. Let's say a state has 10 electors. If at the end of the voting day, the tally awards 6 electors to the Democratic candidate and 4 to the Republican, the Democrat has won the election in this state and gets all 10 votes, while the Republican gets nothing. The winner takes all. This is why in so-called swing states, states in which both parties have an equally high chance of taking the win, candidates are campaigning harder than in other states. It is hard to predict the electoral outcome pre-election in these states. There is a total of 535 electors. The candidate who can secure more than half of the electoral vote has won the election. This is why electors from the swing states are especially important. Once the electors have been awarded, it is basically clear who will be the next president of the United States, while officially the decision is only made by the Electoral College, which is the body made up of the awarded electors. This is usually 41 days after Election Day. On that day, the electors vote in their states. These votes are then counted in Congress around the beginning of January. And it is in Congress, too, where the next occupant of the White House is later officially announced. Finally, the inauguration of the next president takes place on January 20th to formally end the election year.
That I'm going to share on the Electoral College. And so let's see, the national popular vote. And they say that in 2019, Colorado, New Mexico, Delaware, and Oregon became the latest states to take a stand against the Electoral College. Because, I'm wondering, I know this was done years, like maybe even a century ago, to make it more even or equal for states that didn't have as many people in it as larger states. It kind of leveled the playing field, the Electoral College. But now today, those very states have a lot of population. So maybe we should adjust that, amend that, and make it so that the popular vote is the process used to elect the president and the vice president. But right now, it's the Electoral College. So I just wondered, here are some numbers to show you the different electoral votes for each state. So in Illinois, we have 19 electoral votes. In Idaho, they have 4. In Kentucky, they have 8.
Well, Chicago lost one, is in -1 there, right?
Illinois has 19 electoral votes. But check this out. Look at California. They got 54 votes. And in Florida, they got 30 votes. That's why they always talking about these states, because they got the most votes. They got a lot of votes. And so That's this just amazing. But so what do you think about this process, this electoral process that governs how our president and our vice president are elected? I mean, today, do you think that is a good methodology for electing the president and the vice president? Because if you do think that, then we need to be talking to people about making sure they understand who their electoral representatives are and what their platform initiatives are. Because they're not the same people that we vote for the senators and the state reps and the U.S. congressmen. This is a separate group of people.
Okay,
That's racist.
so it's almost like saying, do we keep the Constitution?
No, we don't keep it. No, get rid of it.
No, but okay, so but what I'm saying is, it's almost like saying, do we keep our democratic standing?
No, you get rid of that too. Ain't no democracy. I live in the ghetto. What is democratic about the ghetto?
Okay. So when you're asking the question, should it be changed? Then you're saying that what is this country was founded upon, it has to be changed. And so what do you know? Like you were saying, people don't even know that it is an electoral college. They probably think it's somewhere you go and get a degree. And so when you look at now, did you show a map, Wanda?
Yes, I was showing this government piece here.
And also, Tom, do you know that those electors, if they go vote against what the popular vote is and decide that they're not going to vote that way, that they can lock them up and put them in jail? You know that?
They did.
If he does what?
You're an elector.
Say it again.
In Illinois, where it says we got 19 or something like that. Yeah, they have the pledge that before they they get up there. You have the legislature, the Republican and the Democratic Party, and they have to pledge before that party that they are going to vote in a certain type of direction. And if they choose to go opposite to that, to another party, they can get locked up and put in jail.
They did though. That's what they did when they tried to take that information to Pence and he wouldn't accept it. That's what they were doing then, and now they're being indicted.
Oh no, but those weren't real electors though doing that, were they?
No,
they were fake electors. Those were fake electors. Those were fake electors.
Right.
But I'm saying the real ones like she's showing up there, the real ones. Do you know, let's say you had a regular election, let's say the election that's coming up right now, and let's say old girl is winning, and these electors have to pledge that they're going to vote in a certain direction to that party. And if they don't do that at that convention time, do you know, or they do that, or when they have the national election, or it's the national election, they decide to go, he gonna vote the opposite way, that person in some states get thrown in jail.
And so those are things that we really don't know.
No, we don't know about that, but there's something that you need to know about, is why they claim that they have the electoral college in place. And Wanda did bring, some clarity, because I didn't realize it's supposed to make an even playing field. But some say the one of the reasons why they did it was because of this. In the event that you have a Hitler type individual or a dictator, has won the popular vote. Okay, well, to prevent something like that from happening, you will have an electoral college that could offset that and vote for that person who doesn't have dictatorial type of character. But we know that ain't working in our recent election politics, because we got a dude who wants to be a dictator, okay, a fascist. We got a fascist, because you got to remember what fascism is. Okay, you work for corporations, and they put down the terms of the contract, and you sign the dotted line and you follow everything that they tell you to do. We don't realize that, but that is fascism, because you have no position to negotiate, unlike one of these high level executives, okay, who goes to work for a company, and you can write a contract, the terms under which you want to work. Now, that's not fascism, but in general, American corporation, the corporate state is fascist in America.
And that's why Trump's son-in-law took that $2 billion, because they were making promises that went under the table. And so that's why, look, that's why they really tried to take him out, because it's like you have a debt and he can't pay it. He's created a debt with other countries.
What's his name? What is his name? His father, the guy, the son-in-law of Trump, who they brought in the White House. He inherited from his father he's like his father was a real estate magnate, and he had all kind of properties, and a lot of these people, like and just think about it, in the Black community, most of the money comes from out of the community, and never hear politicians talk about it. It's obviously the rent. Most of the money that comes from out of the Black community, just like any other Black community, is through our rents and stuff. And then, so who are we paying rent to? Who are these individuals? His son-in-law was a big slumlord throughout New York City, and so we have them here too, And so what it was is that they had lost billions of dollars, okay, in their investments, and so the son-in-law, why would they be bringing him into? That's very unconventional, bringing your son-in-law and your daughter into the White House and stuff like that. And why? Because he wanted to make those connections so he could get funding to pay off all of that billions of dollars of debt that he had in New York. See, remember now, when he first got in his office, his son-in-law, he was, for like the whole first term, almost 4 years, they refused to give him I have a security clearance. They refused to give him a top secret security clearance for a long. Remember that? Yeah. Because they did not want him to have this, because they knew once he had that kind of information, he could use it to his advantage to try to clear out all that debt that he had. And I bet you it's all cleared out. By the time the second term came around, then he was able to get that security clearance. Right.
That's Jared Kushner.
Yes.
They stopped him stopped him from doing a lot that he was trying to do. So that's why it really it angers me when I hear Black people say, well, what did Barack do for us? He did what he could do. He did what he could do for everybody. But anyway, life in the big city.
But again, just to roll it down, the ideal, some say, of the electoral college, she said make an equal playing field, but was in the case that you have demigods or fascists and dictators get in place, to have a electoral college to be able to make a decision. Hey, this is a fascist, Hitler. We don't want that. But what did I just make you saying earlier? These guys are pledged to their candidate, and if they decide to go the opposite way, they can be put in jail. So that really is not working.
Now, in Trump's speech last night, he said that if he lost, him and Elon Musk was gonna go live in Venezuela.
Him and Elon Musk.
Yeah, that he spoke for Elon Musk.
Yeah, because he know he gonna go to jail. If he don't win, he definitely going to jail. If he don't win, there's no question about it. He is going to get locked up.
Who you talking about? Trump?
all those charges and get they, eventually.
If
They're
they
gonna
letting him
eventually.
run for the president of the United States and he got 32 charges, what make you think he gonna go to
34.
jail for 32 charges?
34
If he
Wanda.
if he
Oh,
don't
34.
win, if he don't win, I think he will be the first one to get locked up because that's the only thing that gonna get him out of jail.
All right. We shall see what we
He
shall
he gonna
see.
go. He's going. If they don't put him in there for January 6th, J6, I don't know what can get you locked up.
Well, you know what? Okay, so excuse January 6th. He's got 34 indictments. I mean, he's got 34. Is that 34 indictments, right? And they just found out that he took $10 million in campaign and in money from Egypt in cash and put it into his campaign. And so that's just the icing on the cake of what this person is doing. Like when people say he's a grifter, he's just got his hands in so much mud. And it almost makes you just wonder, why is it that corruption is ignored with the high and mighty? Because even with his billion-dollar status, that's just debt. He doesn't have any money, but yet he can live that lifestyle. And our money has to be real money. We can't just go and get a $500,000 car without money.
That's right.
Yeah, everybody know he's broke, but he can still go and walk off the lot.
He is the front. He's just a straw man, a puppeteer, just like Hitler was. Don't think that Hitler was in control. No, he was a front for the people behind the scenes who were financing and putting that puppet up there. Okay, and that's what he is. And he has corporations in his name all around the nation, all around the world. So it's multinationalists who are behind propping up that puppeteer. These rich people who you never see. Being rich and powerful is the ability to hide one's identity. You know that, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
And so if they were to run for offices and stuff like that, you will see for who they are, and everybody will get rid of them. They'll be gotten rid of. So they'll put a puppet up there in their place and put them behind bulletproof limousines and stuff like that, and run them. And you don't like them, kick the bum out, and they go put another one back up there. And so that's all that he is, and they're using him to do what he's doing. That's how come he can dodge all of these charges and stuff, because they're the ones who really own these judges. Okay, and they're the ones who are putting money into his campaign. It is the elite and their old families been here for a long time. And it's from multinationals. That's how come he's up there like that. He ain't back because of who he is. And they own the corporate. They own mass media. They in all this sort of thing. They're the ones behind with him up there. And the same thing with old girl too, who's running. You know that. Because look at who she's married to. She's married to a dude who probably has connections with Israel, not having nothing against nobody. And we know who runs the United States Federal Reserve. Okay, we know who runs that, and the ones who are providing funding to the country. And so that's how come she's not having any problem with she's getting hundreds of millions and all that. And Biden had all kinds of trouble trying to get money. How come she all of a sudden has the connections to look at who she's married to?
Interesting. Okay. Hey. So in conclusion, do we think that Vice President Kamala Harris will win this election by the popular vote, since we know that electoral college is really who elects the president and the vice president? Is
I
this
think
just a
it's changing.
fanfare? I mean, are we seeing a bunch of people just
Well, we lost her.
wishful thinking?
I'm saying I see her winning the popular vote because she's a mass media darling. It is the media that's really engendering and causing this honeymoon, as they call it, that she's having with the public. Oh, and not so much the public, and they're saying that she has not really. Trump has had multiple uh, you know, campaign speeches or and something like that, and she hadn't had none. She just, he's gone out and communicated with the people and stuff like that. This girl has not, and Harris has not done any of that kind of stuff. He has come up because he's been doing that. But I see her winning the popular vote. But winning the popular vote, we know that from Mondale Bush does not guarantee that you're going to win the electoral college because
Right,
it
right.
depends if you
That
get picked.
we need to find out who our electors are for Illinois and see how they're talking. What is their what are they touting? What is
You know
their
what? I think that's why they don't really put a lot of money in Illinois because it's almost like it's a given, right? It's like it's like uh it's like most politicians will go and spend money where they know they're having problems. So Illinois is Democratic, and so you watch and see the convention. It's Chicago's gonna show up and show out and let it be known who they support. So you look at those electoral
I don't
numbers.
even know who they are. Do you know who they are?
Who do I know? Who what?
Who
Do I know
the
what?
electors are for Illinois? Do we know
No,
who they are?
we voted them already. It was on the ballot,
Oh, okay. I
and
don't even
so
remember.
it's in the media. You can find it. Um, but I was about to say, oh yeah. So when you look at the other states, right, and you see because there are maps. I saw a map earlier where it showed the concentration of each candidate.
Now,
Oh, that's the map I was trying to share.
okay.
Okay.
That is a lot of red states. It's a lot of red states.
So it's a combination of states that you have to win to get that. Is it 270? It says down there between South Carolina and Georgia. Funny that they would put it there to win 270. And so you got to have the right combination of popular votes that aligns with uh, electors to reach that 270.
Okay.
And you see, we blue, but all around our state, it's pretty much red.
Yeah.
Wisconsin it can flip one way or another because it's really red. It's just only Milwaukee that can turn it blue.
Oh,
You know,
she got a lot of work to do.